right, so guys, hello once again. Episode 14 right now. Already having a sequel right here, and good to be back. Good to be back on a Wednesday evening with you guys. I was like very anxious, and I couldn't wait for days to pass so we could start this live streaming. Again, having together with me are my two good friends, Christian and Lud. Guys, say hello to everybody.
Hi guys.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody. And good to have people with us. Hello, Patrick. I hope everything.
I think Patrick must be our most loyal fan.
Right.
I don't think Patrick has missed a single stream.
I'm very happy. I'm very happy about that. Also, Christian, hello once again. Everybody, it's good to be back and good to be able to talk about our hobby. I'm having some problems with my mouse, so if images will flicker from left to right, it's because once I click it, it just has 2 clicks, and then so it might change the images between transitions. Other than that, it's been a crazy week for me. It's been pretty full with a lot of events and a lot of things going on in the community and also in my gaming time, because I was able to play 2 games this weekend, and that's
nice.
That's pretty remarkable for my gaming historical this year, because well, with the COVID and everything, people were like not so eager to join in. But I had 2 wonderful games. I tested 2 lists for the Swiss tournament, to which I hope I'll be able to go, because Switzerland might close the borders for Romania, and that'll be pretty uninteresting for me. But yeah, I just have to hope that everything will be okay to a certain point, or maybe talk to Etienne and find somebody to move my army on the table. That'll be pretty cool to be able to do it. Maybe an idea, why not? Basically, other than this, I want to congratulate Julian from our team, because he became a father this week, and that's pretty nice. Yeah, so Team Romania has 1 more new young member, and I wish him all the best, and I hope he will teach his son to be faithful and loyal Flames of War player, and come join us in for the ETC or other tournaments.
Might take some time though.
Yeah, it might take about 10 to 12 years until he'll get his first dice rolled, and I totally understand why. Other than that, how is it with you guys? How have you been?
Christian, you want to go first?
Yeah, I just got back from my trip to the summer vacation house. Had a good time there, and it was nice that my family-in-law had had the understanding of me needing to be on the stream during my stay there.
Mm-hmm.
So meanwhile, they were sitting out sipping red wine and stuff. I was sitting chatting with you.
And they were asking, what is this guy doing? Huh?
what is this about? Why do you need to sit in there in the room and talk to?
I hope they left some for you anyway.
Screen. Yeah. I had plenty afterwards. But then I played a game this Monday.
Yeah.
Against Jesper from our team.
Yes.
With the carrier list again, against a list of his, which is, it's a secret still because it's ETC.
Yeah, you can name it. You can just say German.
It was a US list, and but we ended up we are really.
Did you win it?
No, we ran out of time. So at the ETC it would have been a mutual loss.
So probably he played infantry. So something else.
No. But it's just simply, the thing is, you have 3.5 hours at DTC, including matchups and setting up the different pairings and stuff, and before you have greeted your opponent and set up the objectives and minefields and divided the table and stuff like that. It takes a lot of time. So basically, you have 3 hours, sometimes less. So as I talked about on the last episode, you really have to move quickly.
It's
With
pretty
all
tiresome.
the and especially with all the cars I'm running. So you really have to plan your movement step in the opponent's turn, and then be able to.
I'm showing you guys my car. Sorry to interrupt you. I managed to make them green. So thank you guys, because I used the colors you recommended me and they're very good. I just wanted to say this because I would have forgotten otherwise. So yes, sorry Christian.
Yeah, but we when we play, we have a stopwatch, like a
chess.
Set for 3.5 hours, and then even though we still had to set up the table and stuff, we ran out of time. So the thing is, if you want to hone your skills at a tournament, also not only play practice games, but also set a timer on it. Because in most tournaments, if you not play 6 turns, let's say as a defender, you can win from turn 6 and afterwards. If you do not reach turn 6, it will be a mutual loss. And then you might get 3 points if you killed, I don't know, 3 units, but still again.
Yeah, that's a pretty lame. It's pretty lame way to do it, and some people have this strategy. Not only in the ATC but in general have this strategy of when defending, of playing 5 turns in 3 hours, and then in the last half an hour they'll rush you and make you do stupid stuff, or just play one more turn, and then that's it for them, and it's a mutual loss, and that's it. And that's, well, it's a strategy. I mean, there are 6 turns required to be played at the ATC currently, I think.
Yeah.
So basically, nobody stops you if you want to play just 6 turns. As an attacker, I think you need to create a list that can break any other list in 6 to 7 turns top.
Yeah, but the thing is also, sometimes when you play, if you see that you're running out of time, just simply move 2 keen units and then just say turn and let him play.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it doesn't matter with the stupid units that doesn't affect the main battle. So sometimes you just need to suck it up and just say, I'm done. Moving 2 units, maybe shooting, assaulting, and then turn.
All right. Now let's hear from Lud. What did he do this week?
Oh, well, since our last stream last Wednesday, I had the Age of Sigmar demo with Ruben. Heresy Brush, and I got super into it. It is an amazing game, to be honest. It's straightforward.
What game? Sorry.
Not Age of Sigmar.
Oh right. Oh yeah.
The Games Workshop one. That kind of took over the old Fantasy Battle.
Mm-hmm.
That was good fun. So got into that. Bought myself the
starter
Realms of Lumineth. So basically the new equivalent to High Elves, a starter army. It's gonna be fun, just having fun at the club with the guys.
Perfect.
And then my big order on Flames of War tanks arrived finally at the store as well. Mm-hmm. So went and picked up that, and basically spent every night I could, 3 nights, building tanks.
That's very good.
I have over 20 tanks on the table behind me.
Nice.
And I'm actually, to be honest, I'm still waiting on some like conversion kits from Sans Models to make the tanks really pop out. But and some decals from the US. I found this small American company that makes basically divisional decal kits. So,
well, send me the link because I need some decals also.
I'll dig it up for you. Maybe we could post it on the
Yeah, link it in the
description of the video when this stream comes out.
perfect.
Yeah, but it's basically it's really cool because they basically do they don't have that many divisions yet, but it's basically a set of maybe 4 or 5 sheets of decals, and it's got everything you need for the division historically. Anything from ambulance markings to
And they're
the
15
serial
mil?
numbers, divisional marks, especially what's sometimes hard for people. I'm still trying to figure out. The British have these color coded numbers, showing if it's reconnaissance or engineers or whatever.
Nice.
They've got you basically all covered with the tonnage markings and all that. So I'm hoping for that to arrive soon. And yeah, and then today I received my bases from Bauera.
Cool.
And for the most sensational part, the paints from. It's been 2 weeks, guys. Please. I know it's most likely stuck in the Finnish mail service that works like a charm. Not. So yeah, but I mean,
It should arrive.
let's hope it gets fast. I've still got 3 weeks to go. I've got 1 week left at the office before my summer vacation.
Mm-hmm.
So when the sun is out and the weather is perfect,
You'll be
I
painting.
can stay inside and paint my Swiss GT army. Most likely, I will. No, I mean, I'm gonna enjoy the summer holidays, or doing something else as well.
Yeah, well,
So
yeah, totally. I can totally
yeah,
understand.
It's been quite hectic, and now after a few days break painting the Paras,
Mm-hmm.
I'm back into it, so to speak.
Good.
It's nice to paint after 3 days of paint, just building tanks, all the glue sniffing. Yeah, a nice mix of Revell, plastic glue, and super glue. Doesn't get you a good buzz. Don't try it at home.
Okay. Yeah.
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 That's
Totally
pretty
agree.
much it for me.
Yeah, I also my list is complete from terms of the models that I need, and I
Nice.
also battle tested it. I tested one list we created here on the channel with the IV formation with some veteran rifle infantry, U.S. infantry, against my good friend Fabi, who was playing his Germans, and he just whooped my ass. Joe Atkins failed to scratch the Tigers, so basically, yeah, nothing happened from that point.
His name is Joe Eakins.
Joe Eakins, yes. So that guy didn't manage to do anything. It's still a very good hero. It's still a very good piece of a hero, but not in a US list, or not in my list, because it's just two shots and that's about it, and your opponent can easily manage to cope with those 2 shots. Basically, I had the 76.
He will be sniped.
Yeah,
He will be sniped
exactly.
as soon as you give the opportunity.
This is what happened. I mean, once I got him on the hill, and he had a chance. He had 2 chances actually, because he also had his 3 Sherman buddies who ate a lot of 8.8 shells from the pack front. You know, so 2 of the Shermans died. Next turn it was just him and another Sherman, and guess what? Finally, the nail hit him.
It's not like a wonder card, but the thing is,
oh no,
I really loved him, and then also the thing is, yeah, I'm fine in my carrier list. If you spend all your resources on shooting on my Shermans, I'm just gonna come with all the average and assault objective.
Do you have it? Do you have it on your list?
Yeah, in the carrier list I have him. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I only run him with 3 tanks because I just wanted it to be a nuisance. And then, you can stand still and shoot with him on long range, and then have the shootout on sixes. But then again, if you move him around, it doesn't matter, because let's say you are parked up there or you ambush or something, then just shoot and scoot back. Just move him around. You get reroll all the time.
Yeah,
So why not use him
being able
being?
to shoot and scoot, it's a big plus, as we've shown in our Panzer 4 versus 76's demonstration. And this is what I think I've missed, because I had him parked on the hill, shooting down at the Tigers. So basically I was hitting them on fives because he was long range. He was hitting me back on sixes, but he had two Tigers shooting at him. He had three Flux shooting on that hill. So basically, in the end, his sixes were better than my
Better
fives.
than yours, yeah. But just think about it like this.
And I managed to hit him once. So one turn I had one shot with reroll. The next turn I had two shots with reroll, and in the second turn when I had two shots with reroll, I managed to hit him, and it's mathematics in the end. And
but
then
just.
And then he just rolled the six for the save, and I was like,
But,
"Come on!"
but what? Let's say you're shooting at. Think about it like this, too. Let's say you are parked on a hill shooting on some Tigers.
Yep.
Blitzing is always a choice when it's on 4+ with British vehicles.
Yeah, I tried the shoot and scoot to get him down from the hill, but he failed it.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is that you should be more calculated whether you want to use blitz or not. But there's no there's no problem in using shoot and scoot, because if you fail it doesn't matter. But what you could do is, if you're facing against Tigers, use your Firefly with Joe in to shoot at the Tigers, and then just shoot direct smoke with the Shermans. The thing is, though, they can only shoot 70 centimeters, so you have to be close, but just smoke up the target and then shoot with him with the main gun, because it takes place. They are shooting simultaneously, so you can hit him with Joe with no penalty, yeah, and then you can smoke him up afterwards.
It's a good strategy. I recognize I didn't use it, but still I think it would have been quite hard to hit him with the.
You force him to move or blitz.
Exactly. It's a good strategy. I don't. It's a good thing. I'm open to it. It's a good strategy on how to play Joe. And I think he can deliver in a list where you have more assets to put forward for your enemy. But when you have just one asset with the anti-tank 14 and he has Tigers on the table, he was like, all right, so who can kill me? This guy can kill me. All right, let's kill him. So basically he just ate all the shots. I was able to get all the other tanks and the infantry and the anti-aircraft and everybody on the move and towards the objective, and I was on the objective on turn 6, so basically I got there, but then he just charged me with the Tigers in my infantry, and I lost it, so that was about it. Another thing I just have to say is how good the anti-aircraft. Something on your Skype now. It's gone. Did you wrote me something?
Yeah, I just said I'm ready with the next thing for the stream, but you're the host too. So yeah.
What?
The thing we talked about objective placement and how we will give people an input about it. I just said I'm ready for it.
Yes.
I just wrote you on Skype for it not to be in the stream, but
it appeared.
Guess what? It's in the stream now, yeah.
Yeah, no problem. So 4 Shermans versus 3 Flak and 2 Tigers. What did you expect? Well, I was expecting Soren just to hit 1 Tiger at least. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I managed to shoot at him twice. So basically it was okay. And actually Joe didn't die. All the other Shermans died and Joe left. So basically Joe didn't die, so I used him quite good. I managed to hide him away, and my 76 Shermans, I played them trained, and that was a very, very big mistake, because I could have went for just 3 Shermans with Joe inside and having the 4 76s veterans, and that would have been a completely different game. but I still have to go through that thing. I
Was
think I
it flag
have.
nests too?
Excuse
Was it
me.
flag nests? Did he have flag nests?
Yes, 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 yes. I will
So
show
you
you.
also had to reroll the firepower, yeah.
Yeah, I will show you a picture of the table. Let me see.
I'll just be right back. I'm just gonna go grab a cup of coffee. I'll be right back.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So basically, let me see, where is it in my layout? I think I have it somewhere here. It should be. So let me create my composition first, and that is
So, Stream, what have you guys been up to
well.
lately?
I see
I know
people.
I know Søren has been building on his M4s. The Sherman list is coming up nice. Patrick, I think you've been painting your Germans, right?
Exactly. The guys are getting ready for us, I think, and I hope I'll be able to join in.
By the way, something completely different, like in Monty Python. Look what I just bought. You see it?
Oh my God, a pin.
Ooh.
The
Oh, you got
limited
one of
edition
those.
pins.
Is
I
it
bought all 4 of them, and now I have it on my shirt, proudly presenting British.
nice? Are they good quality? Can you
Yes,
can you
yes.
can you make us a review?
I'd say that you can either, it's just a gimmick, but people in the hobby will buy a special edition objectives or patches or whatever.
Yep.
And you can use it on your shirt when you're at a tournament just to represent your allegiance, or you could put it on your, let's say, your
Army
backpack,
bag.
your army bag, your backpack. So you could tell. For me,
Are
for
they metal,
instance,
plastic,
they're
well
metal, yeah,
built?
they're all right. They're all right. For me, for instance, I have like 3 bags with different armies in.
Hmm.
So I have patches for some of them, but now I can place the limited edition pin on, and then when they run out of them, well, I can tell by afar that it's my bag, and
Exactly.
it's just I
Mm.
wanted to
But I think
afford.
everybody at these competitions will have these pins.
Yeah, but it's just a cool gimmick, I think. And then in the hobby, to support Battlefront also here through the Corona, I'd gladly pay. I think I paid €8 for that, and it's like 2 pints when you're out partying, so I don't mind.
Yeah, it's pretty cheap, and they could be a good thing. I will show you guys the list of the picture of the game I played. You guys should watch it on YouTube, I think. So let's see if I can make it a little bit bigger. All right, so
Is that at your local club too?
yes,
Yeah, it's a nice table.
yeah, decent. We're just using things on the table just to have them. Let me see. Yeah, this should be okay. So basically, I had Joe here on this hill. They were parked right here. His defense. We were playing the breakthrough scenario, and I did a stupid mistake just placing one infantry in reserve. So yeah, big mistake. I should have went for the 76s and probably Joe also, and then just run him with everything else. This is my infantry on the objective.
Yeah, because you could have gotten the tanks in his rear.
Exactly, but he would have been expecting me there. So basically, I was very tempted by this hill to have Joe here on the hill, and together with the 76s that died horribly trying to get at him. My M12s did a very good job just shooting down his 88s, like with no problem. And then you can see here all these anti-aircraft. I was just using the normal half tracks because I forgot mine home. and they did a very good job running down this flank and just killing one pack front and some other small things like Stummels, for example. So all in honesty, this cannon, I mean, this 57 millimeter cannons, they didn't do anything. They were quite unuseful on this scenario, and I wouldn't take them in a maneuver list. So basically I will try to probably get some mortars. They will be much more productive than these cannons. They are cheap. You are tempted to take them because they're only 6 points, but you don't do anything with them. So I was shooting, I was having a shootout with the pack which was here, and the pack just he just kept staying alive because I had to reroll all those firepower saves. This small jeep here bombarding one pack that was right here did more than the other thing. So he was bombarding this 88, and at least he was keeping this guy pinned. So he did a better job. Yeah, this is how my list ended up. The infantry that arrived on his rear just got mowed down by his machine guns from his infantry. So yeah, it was a pretty close game. But the fact that I didn't manage to kill his tigers, of course, stopped me from actually doing anything in the game in the end. That's how it went the first day, and I wasn't disappointed. I was happy that his list was solid enough for a defending list, and also I was happy enough that my anti-aircraft unit was very good. So now I know that if I'm going to play my stewards list at the ATC, I will definitely take my anti-aircraft unit with me, because what that anti-aircraft unit can do, it's absolutely incredible, because nobody pays any attention to those 4 points, and they think, well, what can you do? And then you start killing Stummels or popping out cannons or whatever infantry, and they're like, whoa, so many shots from just 2 cars. And I was like, yeah.
What's the moving rate of fire for them?
So it's 2 for the 7.4 plus and 3 for the 5.5 plus. So basically you have 4 and 6 shots, and that's 10 shots.
It's really good too.
Yeah.
It's really good.
And if you just camp them there, then you have like you have 4 from each, so 8 plus 10, that's 18 shots from 4 points. It's
really good.
It's absolutely
Really good.
incredible. I mean,
Bonkers.
yeah, bongus. You need to take that. You need to take that anti-aircraft. And okay, they're crappy models. They are still resin, but yeah, if you are an American player, you should think about that and get them in your list. They are as good as any Stewart or other thing, but they're just 4 points. Then the second day, I went on with playing a game with Dan, our team captain. So I played the #1 player in the world, and that was like playing the #1 player in the world. If in turn 3 I was like very confident, I would like obliterate him. He was playing an infantry list, classic infantry list, let's say, but he's the #1 player. So basically, in the end, we ran out of time, and the thing ended with him having to shoot down my cars that were parked in
Within 20.
Yeah, they were in the, so his 76s were in close to the objective. My scouts, the Daimlers, were also in the hayfield parked. So basically it was going to be just a shootout, and probably he would have won because superior firepower, and he has armor I don't have. So basically we don't know how well it would have ended for me, but I think he would have won. I was still having 2 Churchills, but killing 76s with Churchills, even if you have 3+ firepower, is not something guaranteed. And he could have just went for my side, and then he would have had an advantage compared to me not being able to take his flank, and then all those things. What I really liked about, and of course the average reconfirmed the fact that they are absolutely horrible for any infantry list or for any adversary running pack front or anything that he can bombard and kill. The jeeps. Christian is asking about the jeeps. What jeeps, Christian? And what I want to say is that the combination of 1 Piat and 50 Kels on the carriers, it's something really nice. I'm considering though taking 3 Daimler platoons, because they are veterans, and so they have a better assault rating, and also they can do more stuff than what the carriers can do. The carriers can get faster to a place and can get faster to contact, but they suffer from being trained and not being able to hit that hard in assaults or any other things. Like, you cannot try blitz with them, but you can do a lot of blitzes with Daimlers. And also considering the Little John, I'm stubborn but not stupid, so basically I'm considering the Little John, because having a Little John on my Daimler against those 76s would have been probably something much better to try to get the flank on them.
Theo, who told you about the
You did.
John adapter?
You did. I'm telling you, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm stubborn but not stupid. So basically,
Okay, that's good.
I'm very frank, and when we discover something good, we have to share it with everybody. This is our purpose here on the channel.
Exactly. And I also, in my list, I also run 3 Daimlers. Regarding your question, Christian, I think the jeeps. The thing is, a lot of U.S. troops, they have 2 armored cars with a 50 cal on, or 2 cars with a 2-pounder gun on, or 2-centimeter gun, which is anti-tank 7 firepower 4+. But the thing is, with the British vehicles in the platoons, the Daimler Dingo, which is also part of the Daimler platoon for the British, is an armored vehicle, whereas the Jeep has been nerfed since version 3, so it's now a vehicle with a 4+, say, just like a regular truck. So the thing is, in some cases, it's nice that you can dodge, let's say...
It's even worse. You can get flamed with flamethrowers from the west or from anything, and you have to reroll, or...
Yeah, and the Jeep also, if it's part of the platoon, I don't think it can assault with the rest of the platoon. So you only have the ability to get 2 vehicles in. So the Americans are a bit hurt by that. The thing is, they have a Jeep with a mortar in, which gives you a template for 1 point, which is good. So if you leave your Jeep back with the mortar, as Theo showed and talked about, that he had 1 Jeep killing more than his guns, that's the reason why to pick them. But
exactly, and it becomes effective when you play against aggressive targets. When you play against cautious targets, it's not that effective anymore, because it's a 4+ rerollable that you have to reroll. So basically, you will not hit that much. But otherwise, yeah. Soren is asking me if I'm thinking about taking Ivory X on USAAs. If you have 1 point, I don't see why not. I didn't have Ivory X on this anti-aircraft, and I reckon that at the point he had his troops moving on the table, and another template to use there and not use the M12s or the priests would have been very useful. So basically, if you have 1 point, take Ivory X. I don't say it's something that you must take. you must take the AA platoon from my point of view, because it's 4 points, guys. I mean, it's 4 points, 4 trucks. You don't get that good anywhere. Yeah, perfect. Perfect. Okay, so Christian, and what we have and what we're going to show you guys, it's something we talked about in this episode 14. I named it "How to Get Better at Flames of War." Together with my 2 best friends, we're going to try and show you guys a way to place your objectives and also talk about strategies. So we did 2 things. Yeah, we did 2 things, and there was basically we talked about how our games went and how we played some certain lists. I also have some very good insights from what happened to the British lists, and what exactly would be a top pick for a British player playing either infantry or mechanized, or maneuver, defender, maneuver, or attack. It's good to it's hard to get back to this version 4 terminology, but we'll try to see what's best and what you have to pick. So Christian, what do you want to start with?
I'm gonna share my screen now, so it will probably go dark for like, let's say, 30 seconds. But I'm gonna use good old Paint to show you 2 different kind of missions.
By the way, people, Christian is probably the best MS Paint artist ever.
Yes.
Put your hopes high. I mean, now expectations go.
Exactly.
Yeah. But the thing is, a lot of games such as 40K or Age of Sigma and so on and so forth, you just put on your miniatures and then you take turns placing objectives around the table, and then in 40K you keep your army in cover so you don't get alpha striked, and then pop out and shoot on the other guy. In Flames of War, the game really is concentrated about how and where you place your objectives and how you deploy your units. So, for instance, this is a very basic mission, which it's one of my favorite missions, and it's Dust Up. So first of all, in this game, the first player can fire his artillery, and you take turns, or use a plane for that matter, and you take turns in placing your units and placing your objectives. So what I tend to do is, whereas there might be different terrain on here, houses, trees, whatever, it's not shown here on this picture. It's just an idea of how to do a standard placement. But what you should take into consideration is that if you have infantry and the opponent has a lot of tanks, he cannot assault into buildings. So if you are able to place your objective within 10 of a building, so you can keep your infantry in there, he needs to shoot you away or at least assault you with his infantry. So take that into consideration. Or if he is tanks, if you place your units in, let's say, a forest, he needs to do a bug chest, or he cannot hit you in close combat. He just have to sit that round out. So, but what I tend to do is, let me see if I can make this. We'll do it with a red color. I think it's easy to see. So each player.
I think it's better. I think Christian, just use yellow and pink, maybe.
Yellow,
or just yellow, because we don't have. I mean, we have red, but we don't have.
Yeah, the yellow here is the placement of my own objective. So as you can see here in the box, this is where you're supposed to place your objective. Both players places one. So I would place one here, and my opponent would place his own objective up here. So in this case, in Dust Up, the safest way to go is always measuring to the middle of the board. So it'll be completely within here. So it'll be within 45 centimeters here, exactly in the middle, and then across. This is 120 centimeters, so this is 60 across here. So you'll go 30 up and place it right in the middle. Because let's say you only have one infantry platoon, whether he places it here, the opponent. So let me see, I'll place it here. This is my objective. So now I'll take pink for the opponent. So whether he goes here with the objective or he goes down here with it. I don't know if it's possible to see with pink. I think red is better. So whether he goes here or here. This is me painting in paint.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's okay. But the thing is, if you place them like this with the objective completely in the middle, you can hug both objectives with one infantry platoon.
Both possible objectives. So those two positions that Christian is drawing right now are what your opponent can choose as viable positioning for his objectives. And this is something that Christian mentioned, and I want to stress it once again. It totally has to be according to what kind of terrain you're having around your objectives. And this is something we will address after it. So, Christian, carry on.
Yeah, so this here is the safest route to place it right here, because the attacker's reserves, he might put them up here because he want to make a spearhead down this direction and still stay without 40 of the deployment zone and the objective. So he can get his reserve in and push here, or if he goes to this placement of the objective here, he will have to fight my reserves as well. So in most cases, I know the standard procedure would be to place it up here. And if he chooses to go here, he might as well just push straight through here, across the table. But the most important thing is you can hug both objectives with one platoon.
This is dust up, right?
This is dust up. And now the next picture is here. Let me see. So this is no retreat. I'm only going to go through two missions here. This is a very good defensive mission. We play along the long table side here. Your defenders, as defender, will have your reserves coming from here, and he will push you straight up. You'll have 4 minefields that you can place. So taking the terrain into consideration, you place the mines in front of where he wants to go, or if you have favorable terrain that favors him here next to the objective, you might place the minefields on the opposite side. But to the placement of the objective first, again here your reserves will be arriving from this area here. You might choose to place it a little bit back, like so. See, you might choose to place it a little bit back like this at the edge.
I usually place it just at the edge there. So
yeah, you can choose here because then your reserves will be able to go up and help out here.
Exactly.
But let's say you wanna
even a gun can get into range.
Yeah, because if you measure it completely up to the middle here, it's again 90 centimeters, so you'll go for 45, and then you'll go, it's 120 across, so it will be placed at 60 centimeters. So if you place it completely in the middle here, you will either go for an objective up here, and you can still hug it with 2 platoons, or you will go for 1 here.
So you say that placing your objective in the middle is better than placing it on the back line?
Yeah, because let's say he wants to go for this route here. You are still able to hold it with 2 different units. The thing is, when you are placing your infantry, this is now I'm becomes a little bit more advanced. But let's say you have infantry. You want to place them in front of the objective like so, or in front of the objective like so, not on the back line. Yeah, you might buy another turn of him assaulting you, but here you have what we call in the army defense in depth, so you can fall back in this direction.
Exactly.
And you can have your help come in from this side. When you then have your minefields, the most likely route is that you place him here, like so, and then he will obviously go for flanking, yeah. And if he goes in this direction here, let's take another color. Say he's blue. So he want to go through here to this. You have placed the mines in such a way that the terrain favors you here as the defender. If this is not the case, you will place the mines up here in this side, because then the terrain will favor you down here instead. And what you can do is that you can, instead of you can place the minefields in no man's land and also in the defensive area. But what I tend to do is that, let's say you have a minefield placed here, you can take your infantry. Let me see. Yeah, you can take your infantry and then you can place them in here, inside of the minefield. Yeah, just place them inside of the minefield, because then if he assaults through and hits your infantry and he loses, on the way in he needs to take a skill check and a save, and on the way out him falling back is the same. Yeah, you might also get it when you have to fall back, but
exactly,
it doesn't matter if you're in here, especially let's say you have a nest.
With the nest is clear.
Nest.
With the nest is clear. Put it in the minefield, no problem. But otherwise, I don't know what to say about that.
It works for me. It's just something that I figured out. Or you can choose to go and place the infantry right next to the minefield.
I think that's better
because he has to keep 5 centimeters away from you. So him moving in for the assault, he has to go through the minefield, and let's say he falls back, you want him to end up in the minefield, so he needs to go through it 3 times. But we can use the minefield theory for perhaps the next episode.
Yeah, exactly.
The only thing I want to emphasize is that, let's say you're a new player or an intermediate player, this is the case that will always happen in No Retreat. You placing in the middle, him placing in either corner here, and then most likely he will place all of his army on one side, and then say if we can remove these. Let's see, we can remove it.
I never place my army on one side.
The thing is, if you do that, let's say he has to place infantry here, so in front of the minefield. So if you place everything on this side here,
he can just go around for your closest objective.
Yes, then he will push through here.
Exactly.
But he cannot abandon this. And if it does, I would definitely push through here. The thing is, the mines, when you place them so they're not completely overlapping, but still place them so an infantry stand cannot fit through, or a small vehicle. Then you can widen the area a little bit. Let's say you use 2.5 centimeters in between the minefields here. You can stretch them a bit further, and there might be terrain and stuff that you can use in your favor.
Christian, just a small detail with the fact that you don't need your base as an infantry. You don't need your base to fit through something so that your infantry can pass it. It's in the lessons from the front, I think. And so
it's enough if the guy would fit.
So basically, yeah, as wide as 1 foot of your soldier could.
Yeah, the infantry can, but the vehicles cannot. That's what I'm trying.
The vehicles cannot. I suggest. I mean, I like your presentation. Guys watching us, you should know that we didn't do any kind of tests or things like this before this.
This
so
is just my way of placing
your
these
your
two
way
missions.
of playing. Yes, your objectives. I just
Whole
want
stream is done completely unprofessionally.
unprofessional.
and
Exactly.
unprepared.
It's just on the spot. Exactly, Lud. Thank you.
So something we make up. Yeah.
Exactly. What I want to say is basically, let's put the presentation like this. I am the devil's advocate, and I will try to be your opponent. So basically, let's say I'm running my. So let's put it the other way. I'm playing my U.S. Rifle with the one that I played with Fabi. So the one with the 2 infantry stands, 2 57 millimeters cannons with Joe and with all the other things, and I'm defending on this. And you're attacking me with your list, which is a carriers list. I think I will put my objective to the end. So basically, you can see my mouse. So
Yeah.
to the end of the deployment zone. So this is how I'll play it. Tell me why it's wrong and why it's better for you to. I mean, let's say I place my objective right here, the bottom of my defensive line, middle of it, because I don't know, whatever. We're not taking into consideration any terrain feature or any kind of thing, just strictly, let's say, placement. And then you place your objective.
Yeah. If you place it that far back,
exactly,
you won't be able to hold this objective quite well. And if you place your minefields here, let's say you place your minefields.
What I tend to do with my minefields, so for example, I don't place them right there. I'm placing them to the other side so that I'm sure that he will try to come to this exactly. So I'll place them right there, and probably have an infantry platoon with 5.7 here, just on this side. So not protecting my objective, just on this side here.
You would place yours here too, or
exactly.
Yeah.
And then I will have the other like main defensive force right in front of this objective, as you said, because you need to put some infantry in front, but keep in mind not to be too close for him when he does his movement to get into close range and shoot you with close range. So basically, always measure and be sure that, for example, he does something. He has you have 24 inches between you. So basically, he will move 10, so it will be 14. And
but you, I would love for you to place it like this, because I would just place all of my units on one flank.
Exactly. This is what I want you to do.
Yeah, but the thing is, with all the Ares, for me, in my case, and the crocodiles, having, let's say you have a screen of infantry in front of this, you have infantry here.
Yeah, I agree with you. You'll obliterate them with the Everest.
I would just love to push through here easily.
Exactly, but that's how I would play it as a defender. This is, and you have to tell me why it's wrong, because as you show me here to this last objective, I think the distance. So basically, we have 36, I think. Yeah. So it's 20 inches the deployment zone.
The thing is, too, if you do it like this, what will you keep in reserve? Because if you place 2 infantry platoons here to hold these 2 objectives, then you have to have a lot of armor in reserve, and then I can really muscle through here. If you do it my way, one armored rifle platoon can hold both of these with guns and stuff.
And then you're
Whereas,
saying, yeah, but this is
because
I think a deep delayed reserves. So basically, it's one armor anyway on the table. So yeah, probably I will take the 76s to pop the ambush with. But other than that, I will put Joe and probably one the rest of the things. I mean, the M12s, or I will have to choose between the M12s or the 76s to keep in ambush.
but then again, the terrain
I'm
might
not
be a
sure
bit.
if you would have to put the M12s anywhere, because if it's with a front armor of 6,
Yes.
and the M12's front armor is pretty much nothing. It's 1 or 2.
0.
0. So yeah, you can easily have it on the table.
Exactly.
But
In addition of something else.
yeah, but what I would say, the entire idea of this exercise is for people to think about. When the previous episodes we talked about how you build your list, and now comes the hard part, where you have
Playing
total
the
control
list.
as well. Playing your no, not painting the list, playing the list. You have the complete control over this part of the game. So deployment in this kind of game, such as Flames of War, is very, very important. And in objective placements is like 30% of the game, where you have to take in consideration of terrain, so on and so forth. Let's say there might be some impassable terrain and such.
So
But what I don't want people to do is to use their minefields, like one mine here, and then another mine here, and then perhaps a mine here, depending on the terrain, of course.
well,
but
exactly, depending on the terrain,
you want to block off something.
because if you have houses here in the middle, which usually most of the tables have, if you have houses in the middle, then you just plug in the roads with the minefields, and you're safe.
Yes. And the thing is, one thing you should also take into consideration is that with you having to choose the side where you want to defend, think about where you want to place your objectives. Let's say, as Gio said, there might be an urban area here. It would be very nice for you with your infantry to stay in that part, whereas this might be a forest with a lot of dense forest or cornfields and such. With the houses, you'll be able to put in all of your infantry, and the tanks will be unable to kill anything. So, but this is just to give you an idea of how you could place your objectives. Think about the minefields, keep them in a line. Some of the tables around in tournaments aren't that decorated, so keeping them as a support for your army in close connection. Or if it's a good table with a lot of terrain features, as Gio said, use the houses as choking points where you place the minefields.
Exactly. Christian, so just to summarize and jump into the conclusion, is what you're saying is that when you can place your own objective in your defending zone, try to keep it as close as possible to the middle.
Yeah.
All right. Just to be able to control it with one unit. That's a very good advice. It's a very good thing. For me, I don't do that. I usually tend to place my objective as close as possible to my reserve zone, and that usually means that it's as far as possible from my opponent. But what Christian is saying, it makes sense, and it has a good point. I might start doing so, protecting my objective with the infantry. I usually tend to split the two objectives as much as possible, not to get them closer, as close as possible. But that depends, because
forcing the opponent to split his forces.
Exactly. This is what I usually intend to do. I want to make my opponent split his forces. Although me playing as an attacker, I always split my forces. So.
Yeah, but the thing is with this objective placement here, it is you often have played with armored rifles and they have a lot of infantry and stuff. But let's say you have at a tournament, you have battle plans, you both choose attack, you are tank armies, and you lose. So you can only have one armored infantry choice on the table, and then you might have some recon and perhaps one infantry platoon. This would be the perfect
The way
choice
to
for
do
you,
it, exactly.
especially if you're a maneuver list or if you're a attack list and you get to defend. I would always place the objectives here because all of your units are so rapid, so they can easily get up here and support.
Well,
And
they will have to go for at least 16 inches to get to the objectives, or
yeah,
14 inches to get to the objective. So basically, they will go. They will have to go for 2 turns. This is my only
yeah,
concern. I mean, you will not be able to save them in the same turn that they arrive from. And usually, I'm a bad reserve roller, so usually they come up on turn 6 when my opponent. Yeah, this happens every time almost. So basically, I need them there to get to the objective as soon as possible. And this is the thing that I'm playing like this. I mean, if the objective is as close as I can have it to my reserve area, that's good. And also, second thing is that when you have your objective close to your reserve area, you have an increased chance of getting tanks side armor. So because he will be closer to your reserve area, you will have a bigger maneuver area where you can so you can move your tanks 10 inches, and those 10 inches might get one side from his Churchill or his Tiger or whatever monster he has on the table, and that could help. But yeah, this depends on the way you're playing your games.
yeah, and your list is built. Okay, but this is just 2 different missions. But I'm just saying, as a safe choice, you could go for your own objective in the middle in most cases, and then Chio is advocating for it to be in the back, and both things have merit. It depends on your list.
Christian, I'm not advocating. It's the way that I play it, and this is I'm trying to explain why I do this, and as you explain why you're placing it in the middle, because I recognize that it makes more sense if you're playing an infantry player. If you're playing infantry, to have your objectives as close as possible. So maybe you can just hold them with one infantry platoon. So that way, one infantry platoon, you can do other stuff with it. You can plug holes, or you can put them. For example, it happened for me sometimes that, of course, playing maneuver and having stewards or fast tanks. So putting one. I don't know if you can see my. You don't see now. You see my mouse. How do we see it on the? Just that people can see them as I am seeing that. Yeah, this is how we should have it. So basically, I'm putting one infantry, big infantry platoon here, and then I was having my steward's platoon right here, just to be ready to go for his artillery or his rear guard. So it helps you having one. I mean, having just one unit taking care of both objectives. And also, if you have small tanks or Daimlers or carriers, you can just zoom them between those 2 objectives, and that's it, and you can keep them safe from your opponent. All right, Christian. Any other missions you're preparing for us?
No, these were the only 2, because then we can talk about some next missions. But this is just to give an idea. This is the defensive scenario, and then dust up, and then maybe we can talk about another mission next time, because I also brought the new picture of the leaked picture of the SS Panzergrenadiers.
Exactly.
So this is what I'm going to show now. So this is from.
Do we have it on Battlefront website? I think we have it on Battlefront website. That's also.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
I'm not sure.
Oh, we've got it up here.
I think it's shared now. I have a picture of it right now.
Yeah.
It should be shared.
SS Panzergrenadier platoon, absolutely incredible. They hit on 3+ in assaults. No point cost, or is it just me?
There's no point cost yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
They're aggressive, so they are useless.
No. No. Because the thing is, and this now we might go into a huge debate with the internet.
This is what we like.
Yeah, but the thing is, during the past 50 or 60 years of Hollywood and history and stuff, the SS are portrayed as being some really skilled fighters, and they might have been, but there's a lot of accounts of the SS being very fearless and fanatical, but that doesn't equal skill. There's a fine balance between if you do something bold in combat and if you succeed, you get an Iron Cross, and if you die, you're just an idiot. The thing is, this book is meant to be Normandy, and a lot of the SS units there are full of replacements or new Hitlerjugend
they were basically teenage boys who'd been given Pervitin, which means methamphetamines, and an automatic machine pistol, and then said, "Go."
And then
there do your thing.
And there were some veterans among them, of course, but the way they depicted Battlefront for me is very nice. That they have chosen to make them aggressive. This means that the whole army will be aggressive, but let's say the skill is trained again. It's mixed units of old veterans and young replacements, and some of them are also fighters from different countries that are fascists and have joined. So, but if you have your commander nearby, you will improve their skill to being 3+, because he's like, let's say the one I see is nearby. He will improve them by saying, "Hey, take cover over there or move over there." Them being aggressive again. Think about it. The Germans are defending in Normandy, and in hetero fighting, it doesn't matter. So if you're concealed guns aground, you might get them cheaper for them being aggressive. But then again, you still hit on 3+ in close combat, so they are better at fighting in close combat. So that evens it out, and this makes it playable, in my opinion, because by them making it aggressive, it also deducts some point costs, because otherwise you won't see an entire infantry formation with SS infantry because it's too expensive. So by doing this, in my humble opinion, it's a good way for them to be playable, historical, and then also balancing things out.
I think what the Battlefront did best was the British D-Day book, where they put cheap infantry. They say they were trained, but actually they were veterans. All right, apart from the fact that they have a gruesome rally with a 5+, they are cautious. I see Patrick is saying in the comments that there will be 7 points for 7 men. 7 points for an aggressive 7-man platoon. I think it's a lot. Okay, they are fearless. Okay, they hit on 3+ in assault, and that's the only thing that infantry has to use its skill for. Other than, okay, when you're, let's say, when you're running your infantry across the field, you expect them to die. So basically, you don't expect them to, okay, I will move them 8 inches and then they will dug in and stay there. No, you don't use your infantry like that. Maybe in desperate things like in breakthrough, yeah, you run your infantry towards the objective and then you try to dig them in, okay, and then they will, if they have a good dig in roll, they will dig in on the first attempt and otherwise on the second and so forth. But I think the only thing that the skill is good for, it's for assault. Christian, something is going on with your internet connection.
Oh, I don't know. it might be the colors. I don't know.
Yeah, I will put you back on the camera. So
Yeah.
let's switch to the camera so that we can see you, because we've seen most of the things. Now you guys are on the screen.
Yeah.
So basically, 7 points. Let me check. Not to talk in vain. So let's see the website. You guys are seeing the website right now. I hope so. And I'll just go to my forces. So 7 points for 7 men. Fearless they be. I will just go directly to the D-Day American, to what we have here called the Ranger Platoon. Yeah, these are the guys. Okay, they have a 2+ assault and a 2+ rally, and they are veterans, and they're very expensive compared to the 7 point. 7 point. So 7. They are 8 men. Okay, they are 7. They are rifles. They're not MGs, and they're 10 points. So Patrick, you might be right. They will probably be 7 points. If you know for sure that they are going to be 7 points for 7 stands, just tell us, and you'll just ease my pain. I will be upset once again because a great nation has better troops for better prices than the Americans, and I would expect that. So 7 points for 7 men. I wouldn't take them for anything, actually, SS, if they will be like this, the infantry. I wouldn't take them for defending. All right, so you've seen photos. Thank you, Patrick, for sharing with us. I wouldn't take them for defense. I wouldn't take them for. I would take them maybe as a support unit, just to be able to do I don't know what. No, I wouldn't take them. I'll be honest. I wouldn't take this SS infantry, because being aggressive, that's, you cannot assault with them basically. And if you're defending with aggressive troops, Christian, I have to remind you that the main thing why people don't play infantry lists anymore is because artillery, and when you're hit on a 3+, because you're hit on a 3+ under the template, my friend, you don't want that to happen. So
No, but again, the thing is, I think they have some merit if you use them at 7 points. Let's say you have an infantry formation, you can get 4 SS platoons with MGs and a Faust for 28 points. That's a lot of Germans that you have to kill. Or you can just take 3 of them and it's 21 points. And I think the way you should play them is differently, because these Panzer Grenadiers, they can get vehicles. So you'll just keep them in the vehicles, concealed gun to ground, meanwhile they're moving forward. And then when they're closing in, you might jump out or do stuff, fire a Faust or assault. But the thing is, nowadays, it's really nice with the armored vehicles that you can stay in. And let's say they get bailed out. Back in version 3, they had to jump out. Now they can stay in. So if you buy vehicles for them, I think they are very nice and very hard-hitting, because you want to, again, the Germans are a scalpel. You will move up those, let's say you're attacking, you'll move them up, smoke up the target, and then you can assault him, only being hit on force. And it stacks with the area terrain. So if you're assaulting through a field, they might have some merit. And again, it has to be tested, because I think we haven't seen what hero cards, they might be upgraded with a hero card, 8 points. All of a sudden, you have a very cheap, nice unit, something like that, deduct some morale or whatever. But
I don't think they will improve their hit-on rating, because usually cards don't do that. They just work around with skill and motivation.
Yeah, that's the thing. Usually.
Yeah.
This is a new army again.
Yeah. And this is just one, small piece of the new book. So we'll have to see and how they are to be used. And
don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
I can't wait for the new SS book. I mean, it's something that I've been waiting since March or.
but again, an Avery or some long toms and stuff like that will just obliterate them under the template.
Exactly.
But again, if you keep them in the vehicles, might be a different story. We don't know yet. I was just thinking that we should talk about it because it's the new stuff. It's rumors and it's out there.
Exactly. Soren is saying that Hiton 3 Plus is different than the Soviets, but I think the Soviets are about 6 points or 5 points for 7 stands or something like that.
Yeah, they're cheap.
Yeah, exactly. So what I think it makes sense for us to do, I've opened up a Panzer Grenadier platoon right now, and let's say we're going to make these Panzer Grenadiers 7 points for 7 bases. So 7 points for 7 bases will require us to use the Greyhound card, and that will make them skill 4 plus. It will make them last stand 5 plus. And the only thing that they will have, it's a hit-on rating of 4 plus, these Panzer Grenadiers, compared to the elite troops that the Fearless SS, new SS will be. The question is, how are you going to play the list? How are you going to play that platoon? And what you, Christian, said, you should use German forces as a scalpel. I don't know. I mean, I think it will be a good thing to have. I don't know if they will have half trucks. If they have half trucks, okay, I agree with you. It will be somewhere better than that because you can keep them in the half track and you can keep them away from those pesky templates. But if I would be playing with my carriers list against this 3 plus hit-on, there'll be a fist for my 50 Kels or for my NGs. I mean,
yeah. Again, the thing is, it depends on what kind of support they can have. Because let's say if there might be some list that if you play SS infantry, you get point deduction on all kinds of cannons and guns and stuff like that you can take in your formation, and then all of a sudden it makes sense. Let's say you can get Pak 40s or 88s and stuff like that, very cheap hit-on trees within your formation. Yeah, then they might die easily, but there's so much stuff of it and you cannot kill everything. So I think there'll be like a discount version of hair units where you can just outgun, let's say, expensive British equipment. Yeah, they might die, some of them, but you cannot kill all of it. And if all of the units are going to be hit on 3 plus, then there'll be a huge point deduction in Pak 40s or whatever.
The only expensive equipment we have, like the only expensive equipment we have right now is the US equipment. That's the only expensive. Those are the only expensive lists I know, because otherwise
I would say German tanks.
They're not expensive.
They're always expensive.
All right, you have me there because I would like to have more tanks in my German armies, but still.
Think about it. If you get SS, for instance, you might, now they cost 24 for 2 Tigers. I would gladly have them trained with a skill of 4 plus if I could get them for, let's say, 20 points or 18 points or 19 points or something like that.
Well, you can get them for 22 points right now.
Yeah, but you can get, perhaps let's say you can get them even cheaper as SS. There might be some things there, and I also think they might have, back in the old days, they had something called, what was called Himmelsturm in German, which was some of the units they could just sacrifice a guy to reroll a counterattack, for instance. And all kind of fanatical stuff. So I think they'll try and incorporate that with cards. You might see them engineer versions with flamethrowers or all kinds of fanatical, crazy stuff.
Exactly. The only thing is, guys, I agree with you. Any good. I mean, there are new units, and usually what is new should be at least as good as the old things, or they just have to bring some diversity into the gameplay. I'm talking just from the perspective of a tournament player, and I'm talking just from the perspective that having this hit on 3+ for infantry, it will be very, very hard. I mean, for a tiger to be hit on a 3+, okay, he can like withstand that from
Stay on long range, and then it's fine.
Yeah, he will just be okayish. He will not be okay, of course. But the difference for infantry with all this bombardments, templates, and how everything works with version 4 now, it's very hard to stay alive with the 3+. I mean, I've tried a lot of US lists with infantry, with armor rifles, with everything. For example, I tried in the mid-war, I tried armor rifles. You don't want to know. You don't. I mean, it's mid-war where they should be top. I mean, their bazookas should kill like almost everything. Yeah, they would die instantly from those 4 points mortars or 3 points mortars.
Yeah, but
I mean,
we'll
even
see.
I mean, imagine even a jeep shooting at your infantry with a 3+ rerollable. He can just kill them.
I know. But again, we'll see. I think this is just the infantry, but in general, I think we'll see a lot of
I mean, imagine
Panzer forces like the ones that back in the day, Panzer to Demirs. It was a really good list in version 3. I think you'll see train Tiger 4 lists which are fearless, with protected ammo, spammed, and they might have some Brekkie supporting them to do spearheads and stuff. And then just a simple infantry platoon you'll keep in the back in your vehicles so you can dislodge somebody from a house. I think the Panzer 4 list will have their glory and their shine now, whereas the infantry might not be good by themselves, but with all the support that most likely are going to be deducted in points, I think they can do well. We'll see. Not as an offensive list, but as a defensive list.
Exactly. And this kind of brings me to one of the last subjects I want to touch on, and that is World of Tanks miniature games. It's right up on the screen right now. What do you guys think about it? I mean, it's Flames of War becoming more and more of a tanks game. Is it?
No, I mean, no. The wargaming thing, it's just tanks rebranded.
Exactly. It's
I
tanks.
mean-
It's tanks rebranding, and that's obvious for everybody who played tanks before, and we totally understand. And I support Battlefront from taking the money from World of Tanks because those Russian Belarusians, they were, let's say, very greedy. So now they can bring in some money to my favorite hobby. And that's coming from a World of Tanks player that's been playing World of Tanks for like since it started. So, yeah. I don't have such a great experience lately with them because the game just isn't fun anymore, and the way they just put in some tanks and models that are overpowered and you just pay money for them and have them in a free-to-play game. I mean, it's okay for everybody just to pay money and have things. I mean, I've invested myself over 1,000 euros in World of Tanks. So basically, I paid my dues.
And your fair share,
Yeah, so I don't know what to say about it. But yeah, it's a good thing. I see they're saying that they have a starter set. Yeah.
The thing is, I think it's a way to get people into the hobby, because most players used to play when you are a young kid or you're in your
You're playing
teens,
computer games and playing
you're
World of
playing
Tanks, for
computer
example.
games, yeah, or you're playing, you are drawn by Space Marines or fancy pointy elves, stuff like that, because you've seen Lord of the Rings.
Exactly.
So the younger kids are not that much into World War II. It's mostly that they start by playing sci-fi or fantasy games, and then they go into historical games as they grow up, or at least most people that play Flames of War are above 25, almost above 30 years old. So by them interacting with wargaming and World of Tanks, I think is the way to get people into the game of Flames of War. And then by doing that, the corporation, they might also produce tanks. So let's say instead of, you might only need one extra Sherman or one extra whatever Tiger, and you don't need to go out and buy the entire box because the blisters are gone. You can just buy one World of Tank box. It's quite nice, actually, I think.
Yeah, if you take it from that perspective, it's good. I mean, I just needed one Daimler, and I had to buy the entire box.
You see?
There you go.
Yeah.
And I
Okay.
mean this the fact that you have wargaming doing this, you have a good chance of getting those tanks out that wouldn't like get models otherwise, because
Exactly.
they're too niche or whatever. And since let's say one thing I've got my British HQ is a Sherman, so I've got two Shermans, and I'm actually modeling one of the Shermans as a recovery tank, just because it looks more fun, and it's actually easier to distinguish who's the one IC and who's the two IC. But for example, with this, you can have some niche tank that you've always wanted to get in your army. If the stats are basically the same, realistically, I don't think any of your opponents would oppose that you proxy it for something else,
Exactly.
and then you get one of those super cool tanks on the table.
Yeah, I mean, they said that
Or for
we are going.
example, you could kind of relatively easily have these so-called what if games. Let's say the war went on to 46
Yeah,
or 47, and
they
then we
actually
get the
said
special toys, and we just use super late war stats for tanks.
they actually said in their last live stream that we're going to have to see mouse in the game. We're going to see E75s or these kind of tanks. Soren is just trying to turn the knife into the wound, saying that I should get my own arty. Well, all right, but I don't know, Soren, of any aggressive lists out there. I mean, I played my stewards as aggressive in the Belgian GT, and I came up fourth, I think. So, yeah, but that's because I'm a good bastard, probably. But as those are tanks, and that's the way I've seen the math. But when I played aggressive infantry, because this is what we're talking about, the things turned completely different. I mean, starting from the perspective and the point that I was getting killed by all those little templates. And okay, you have your own template, and what do you use it for? You use it to counter battery, yeah, your opponent. But what happens when he has M10s or when he has Wests or priests? Because that's the best thing. And now they have sextants. Because we've seen also, I've seen on the Battlefront website that now
they came back, and the commandos.
Yes, yes, exactly. I will just show them because we talked about this, and they said like we have the sextants here. Okay, they're resin, but still, it's good that they're putting them into the game, because I think a lot of players use the sextants in their British arsenal and it was a need for them, I think. Commandos as well, because everybody loves those red Berettas, and they like to see their British
They're
forces.
green. They're
Green, okay.
they're green.
They're not
And
red.
I mean, one thing
Oh,
that
no.
one thing was really weird with the whole launch of the British book is that they I mean you had lists for like you had
Oh, yeah, they're
lists for
green.
commandos, but you didn't have the models. It was just like
Are you crazy?
I'm so glad they fixed it,
Yeah.
because I was actually missing. I managed to find the so-called last commando platoons and weapon platoons for them, and now I ended up missing one to do the full formation,
Mhm.
and now I don't have to try to hope that somebody puts one on eBay for a ridiculous price. Now it's
They are
it's
going to
as
be
it
out
should
again.
be.
Exactly.
Theo,
Yes.
I have prepared this week's anecdote
Yeah. Exactly. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
As the closing comment here.
Yeah.
But last time I talked about a guy who got the VC for being on a plane and extinguishing fire on the wing and the engine and all that stuff, becoming a POW. But now I'm gonna tell something, a quite fun fact, which is today, no matter where you go in the world, let's say you're in the dense jungle of Amazon, you can get a Coca-Cola. If you're on Greenland, you can get a Coca-Cola. If you're in the middle of some tropical island, you can get a Coca-Cola. If you're in the middle of the desert, you can get a Coca-Cola. And the reason for this is during the Second World War, the Coca-Cola company was really ahead of its time, because they thought, what is true American beverage, and what is the taste of America? And that's obviously a Coca-Cola or a Coke. So what they did was they got an arrangement with the U.S. Army that the areas that they captured back from the Axis, whether it would be in the Pacific or in Europe, they would get allowed to build distilleries to make Coca-Cola. So each week during the war, if possible, also with logistics and things, they were issued with their K rations 2 Coca-Colas. But this was very nice for them, because when they made progress in the army, like let's say 100, 200 kilometers behind the line, Coca-Cola got some buildings and some real estate issued so they could make a distillery and still have it today. And the thing is, during the war, before the war, it was also possible to buy Coca-Cola in Germany. But obviously, when they declared war and stuff like that, and during the war, they weren't able to make Coca-Colas. But the poor Germans, they also wanted, Sprudelwasser, as it's called in German, or sodas. So what they did was, one guy, he invented something he called Fantastisch, which was actually just apple juice or orange juice with gas or CO2, inside. And afterwards, Coca-Cola, when they captured Germany, they bought the rights for it, but you can't sell Fantastisch in the US, so they changed it into Fanta. So,
Exactly.
So that's quite funny, actually. So this was this week's anecdote, that you, along the front line, you could have a Coca-Cola meanwhile shooting Germans.
Yeah, and then they said, "All right, so we finished killing Germans. We're gonna make Fanta
what's
now."
left? Hey, what's left of the Third Reich? Fanta.
Fanta.
Yeah, exactly. But it's true. It's true.
That's a good.
It is.
That's a good closing line, Lud. Oh my god. Oh my god.
I don't think it went as planned.
You just went on the
But
subject.
I think it's better that way.
All right, guys. So I see Soren has a debate that he will.
He's still going on about the Soviet battalions.
The Soviet battalions, and I never saw Soviet lists with infantry winning any tournaments. If he knows any, let us know. Then I will just carry on this discussion with him on WhatsApp, and I hope I will have enough arguments to see if you never give up. That's a very good thing. Never give up. Never give up your hobby, and never give up what you believe into. Because even if it is a crap list, if you manage to play it as best as possible, you have fair chances against good lists with the people playing them for the first time or having not so much not so much practice with them. So, guys,
one thing I forgot to say is that Coca-Cola, they during the war, the Germans took over the distilleries in Germany, and the cool thing was when they captured them back, they said, after Germany got divided and everything, they said, yeah, but we want our distilleries back. So all of a sudden they had pre-built distilleries.
Coca-Cola plants. Yeah. Nice. All right, guys. So hopefully the COVID thing will get easy here in Romania, and I'll be able to join you guys in Switzerland. I'm making plans and arrangements for the travel right now. My army, it's almost painted. I just have to build one more carrier platoon. Other than that, have to paint some infantry, which is not that pleasant for me. And see you guys in a week time. I will get some more games with my carriers list, and hopefully my two colleagues right here will also get some action in terms of tabletop gaming. Thank you, guys.
See you next time.